Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 11 of Stock Car Media's Inside the Garage. Title of this show is with Liam and Ryan. Unfortunately, Liam is out on his own endeavors today, coming back from Bristol Motor Speedway from this past weekend. So it's just me here today, but I'm be sure to give you all the best NASCAR news of the past week. And boy am I ready, because there has been a lot in just this past weekend here. To start off with, we got Kyle Larson. He's won the Bristol night race, the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race at Bristol Motor Speedway in, well, not so dominant fashion is what I'd say. He's usually a driver who steals the show, or at least this season, and nobody else gets a chance to win. And I would not say that was the case this time. If it were not for our pal Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick was headed to his first victory of the 2021 season, one he's been long awaiting. Harvick has had a very disappointing 2021 season, one that I don't think I would wish on anybody. He came off of 9 wins last season in 2020, and this season I think he's finished second a couple of times, and that's it. And Saturday, that counts as one of those times. He had led the race for a good long while. Larson had led. Ryan Blaney had led. Brad Keselowski had led. Denny Hamlin had led. Denny Hamlin's back on a roll again. He was kind of in the same situation as Kevin Harvick the past few months here, but Denny Hamlin obviously won a couple weeks ago at the first race of the playoffs. And now he's back at having some speed, but Harvick, he kept on returning to the lead. He was most definitely the dominant car of the night. That's for certain. And that all changed when he raced Chase Elliott pretty hard. Chase Elliott, I almost forgot to mention him. He was leading the race at a certain point in time. And so Kevin Harvick was trying to pass Chase Elliott to get to the lead, like anybody would. But they were battling lap traffic, so it was very dependent on who got slowed down behind what car. And Chase Elliott got slowed down behind a car. And I got a few cars out here so I can give you a kind of a demonstration. Chase Elliott's this car, gets slowed down behind this car. And Kevin Harvick goes to pass. And Chase Elliott slips through. I don't know what the situation was with Harvick. Harvick was definitely very unhappy with the fact that Chase Elliott was actually able to slip through the little gap there. And for some reason or the other, going into the corner, Kevin Harvick got next to Elliott and drove him up towards the wall. Nobody hit the wall. That was cool. The thing that wasn't cool was Chase Elliott's tire went down. Chase Elliott blew the tire, and he had to go to pits to get new ones. And that left him 3 laps down. Chase Elliott very angry. And believe it or not, Kevin Harvick was about to get a lot more angry because Chase Elliott, 3 laps down, didn't have anything to lose. 25th is where he finished the race, but that was after he slowed down in front of Kevin Harvick and pretty much gave Larson an opportunity to catch Kevin Harvick, and basically is what gave Kyle Larson the win and not Kevin Harvick. Yes, Liam says hello. Yeah, I got the comments up on here. I don't usually because there's 2 people here often, but Liam, who's not here, he says hello in a virtual manner. But yes, Elliott didn't win. That's for certain. Elliott finished 25th. Kevin Harvick finished 2nd. Still really good for him, but it's not the win he was hoping for. And Kyle Larson adds on to a 6th win of the season. And that's not counting the All-Star win. So he's tied. Kyle Larson has tied his season wins, or his career wins before 2021 with his 2021 wins. Before 2021, he's only won 6 races. And then this year, he wins 6 races in one season thus far. So definitely a really good season for Kyle Larson. A win's a win, even if Chase Elliott slows down in front of Kevin Harvick. But those 2 guys are not happy, and they're kind of both in vulnerable positions for where they really should be. Chase Elliott, champion last year, not really in the champion spot this year. and Kevin Harvick looked like a championship contender, and he's pretty much on the cut line coming up to these next few races here. So he's going to need to do very well. And if they get into an altercation, if somebody crashes into somebody else out of anger, Harvick is going to miss the next round, and Elliott might not have a chance at the championship for. But they did have a very heated talk after the race. They stopped on pit road. They were hitting their bumpers on each other, and it was very interesting, I do have to say. It gave me a reason to stay up, gave me a reason to write an article, and that was enough to make me happy. Even though, it wasn't great for either driver. I wasn't really in support of either driver because they both had their own feelings. Kevin Harvick feels, well, I should start with Chase Elliott because I feel like his argument is a little more valid and that Kevin Harvick's is probably going off of Chase Elliott's argument. Chase Elliott believes that Kevin Harvick is always on his rear quarter panel, always bashing on the left side of Kevin Harvick, or Chase Elliott. Man, I'm getting these names mixed up here, but you know what I mean. This is Kevin Harvick and this Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott thinks he's always bashing into the side of him. And Kevin Harvick's response is that he blocks too much. Chase Elliott blocks way too much and deserves to get hit. So, definitely heated, definitely some aggression there. Are we going to see a interesting playoffs? I sure hope so. Other races this weekend, we had A.J. Allmendinger win at Bristol. Another driver I did not expect to see winning. This was the Xfinity Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Food City 300. And if you're going to list off some guys I think might have won, I could have put Justin Allgaier in that list there. I might have put Austin Cindric in that list. Definitely would have put Austin Cindric on that list. But not A.J. Allmendinger. Austin Cindric and A.J. Allmendinger, they were coming into this, it was the last race of the regular season for the Xfinity Series, so they were battling to get the regular season championship. And, well, Allmendinger came out ahead. He went in ahead, but he definitely didn't have the speed he needed to win. But it was really his evasive driving tactics that got him the win. Cindric was leading for a very long time before the final restart. The final restart occurred because the guys behind him, Justin Allgaier and his teammate Sam Mayer, who's driving part-time in the number 8 car, they kind of got involved in an incident. Allgaier was holding his line, and Sam Mayer kind of went out the way. Yeah, Chase Elliott, Harvick, Kevin Elliott. Did I say that? I'm sure I did. But Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer kind of got in a wreck there. Sam Mayer's night pretty much ended. And so there was a restart. And Justin Allgaier and Austin Cindric stayed on the top line. And because of the choose rule, A.J. Allmendinger, I think he was sitting in third or fourth. Well, probably third. That would make sense. He got to go to the bottom. And he drove his heart out in those final 2 laps, that 2-lap shootout. There was about 30 seconds left in the race. And he went into the corner, bashed into the side of Austin Cindric. Not really cool for Cindric, I got to admit. It's kind of a dirty move, if you ask me. But A.J. Allmendinger drove it in there. He got out ahead, and then he fell back. And then the same exact thing happened with Allgaier, because Allgaier got up to Cindric, bashed into the door. So Cindric was getting his door beat off, so I was surprised he even stayed as far ahead as he did. But then Allgaier fell back again. A.J. Allmendinger passed Cindric because Austin Cindric was slowing down too from that contact with Justin Allgaier, and he got ahead. And coming off the last corner, coming to the checkered flag, A.J. Allmendinger was out ahead. Austin Cindric was on the side. Austin Cindric said, you know what, it doesn't matter anymore. We only have a few seconds here. And he hit the side of A.J. Allmendinger, and they spun sideways across the line. And it was just luck that A.J. Allmendinger won. It was crazy. You know, that got me up and screaming. 3 wide, yes. So Liam is butting in here, and he's reminding me the things I've forgotten, which was they went 3 wide into the corner, which is why A.J. Allmendinger fell back. And Justin Allgaier finally had a chance to bash in the side. and AJ Allmendinger passed. Hendrick got back on his bumper, checkered flag. They went sideways across the line. AJ Allmendinger wins. Yes, I'm not doing a great job saying names right or recalling exact moments in the race, but I'm hoping I'm getting it across at least a little bit. It was crazy. Crazy weekend at Bristol. It does give me the notion, why are they putting dirt back on it? Dirt was awesome. Dirt was very interesting. Bristol Dirt was a weekend that I was very excited to see. And, I mean, it did fall a little short for me, but it didn't really disappoint. But asphalt at Bristol is so amazing. Put on some really great racing this weekend. And I was really happy to be able to enjoy it. I know Liam did. Liam was there. Liam will have some great stories to tell me here very shortly. Dirt was weird, right? I agree. I liked seeing it. It was definitely something new. Definitely something they really talked up, but it did fall a little short in my books. I've heard rumor from people that it would be interesting to see North Wilkesboro with dirt on top. Because North Wilkesboro, very degraded. It would need to be repaved anyway to be used. And they're really looking at a use for that track because it's still owned, I believe it's still owned by Speedway Motorsports. So it wouldn't be the worst idea because Bristol's so great on pavement. I have no complaints on that. But something sad that came up this week, and it's not 100% confirmed, but it's confirmed by a team member at Starcom Racing that Starcom Racing is going to be closing at the end of the season here. Charlie Langenstein, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize if that's wrong. He probably doesn't even want me saying his name anyways, but he's a team member at Starcom Racing, and he posted to Twitter that they were notified that the team will be closing at the end of the season. Now, that tweet has been deleted. As you can understand, I'm pretty sure Starcom Racing's probably not very happy with him, that he spilled the beans. But Charlie Langenstein posted a whole paragraph about everything that was happening and that they were closing. It was, I mean, they're not a fast team, that's for sure, but they definitely are a very traditional team. They're one that, they do have fans actually because of, they got Derek Cope, who is the 1990 Daytona 500 champion. They have fans because of the way they feel. They're very a traditional team. It's old-fashioned, and that's why it's sad. That's why it's on this list as high as it is, because they're significant. You see them wreck every other week. You see them on TV. As much as they don't get any TV time for passing cars, they get TV time for hitting cars. And I don't think Quinn Houff was a great solution to the problem, but they had other guys over there like they had Jeffrey Earnhardt. They had I can't remember his name. Landon Castle. I believe they had Matt DiBenedetto at some point. It was definitely a promising team at the beginning, and they kind of lost the traction they needed to win races. I think their best finish was 11th at Daytona, Talladega Superspeedway for sure. Yeah, they do race terribly week to week. I think they wrecked twice at Bristol. So really not the things they want to see in their closing year. Hopefully they can do what Chip Ganassi Racing has been doing and give their drivers some really good cars, even though they know they're not coming back next year. Some more controversial news. NASCAR, the Busch Clash, moves to the LA Coliseum for 2022. I don't think it's a bad idea that they're racing there. I just think it's a little weird to make it the Clash. So if you don't know what the LA Coliseum is, for certain it's a sports stadium. It's not really a racetrack. The first Super Bowl was there, the 1932 Olympics and 1984 Olympics, I believe, were held at the LA Coliseum. LA is Los Angeles, so it's the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It is definitely a sports venue. They play football there a lot, but NASCAR is going to go there in 2022 for the first race of the first race of the next gen era, Gen 7. They're going to be putting those tracks on, or those cars on a tiny little quarter-mile track, and they're going to see who doesn't destroy their brand new cars. And that was what I was saying of, I think the placement is a little weird. I'm not sure why it has to be the Clash. It's the first race of the season, let alone the fact they have to go to Daytona just days after for Speed Weeks, the rest of Speed Weeks. If you didn't know, the Clash has always been at Daytona. So it's definitely a big move. Traditionalists hate it, that's for sure. I'm not really hating it because it's a move. It's just the fact it's all the way across country. It's a quarter mile, so it's going to be some really tight racing. Like Bowman Gray Stadium, if anybody knows what that is. Just a tiny little track. And they're racing really close. And those are brand new, expensive, next-gen cars. They're going to be destroyed. Somebody's going to come out of there destroyed. More than likely, more than one person. And the recent news on that is that they're going to be allowing all 36 cars to show up. Usually the Clash is stage winners, playoff contenders, race winners, Daytona 500 winners. And now everybody can go, even the slow cars, and they're going to go on this tiny little track. I'm not too confident how this is going to work out as the first race of the season. And like my buddy Liam has said, yeah, he's actually saying right now it's going to cause stress for people who are competing, these teams. And yeah, they have to drive all the way from Charlotte or somewhere in North Carolina, because that's where most of the race teams are. They're going to drive all the way from North Carolina to California, back to North Carolina, down to Daytona. Like, oh my goodness, it's just crazy if you ask me. They're going all over the place, these brand new expensive cars. It'll be great for the NASCAR market, though, because there's a lot of potential in the LA area. So, I mean, LA is a huge market for anything. And NASCAR really doesn't have any tracks there. They have they have Auto Club, but that's not really in LA. So, it's not a bad plan, just not a good plan. I feel like there could have been some better timing. Next piece of news we have here. This was released. It's kind of old now at this point, but you didn't hear it from us because it came out just shortly after our episode last week. Sheldon Creed, he's joining RCR for the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. We know right now that Myatt Snider drives there. He drives the number 2. And Sheldon Creed, he actually drives the number 2 in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. So I'd be interested to see what they do to shuffle around there. They only have one car at the moment right now in the Xfinity Series program, so they're either kicking Myatt Snider out or expanding. I think either way they probably give Sheldon Creed the number 2. But it's really a hard decision, a hard call to make, because Myatt Snider's not had a really, really bad season. He's had an actually pretty good one comparatively to what the 21 car held over their last season. Myatt Snider's already won a race there. He's definitely not underperforming, and they might be kicking out somebody who's just a good driver and trade for Sheldon Creed, but they might just be expanding, because I don't really see why they would kick out the guy who already has a sponsorship for Sheldon Creed, who has like maybe 2 sponsors. Okay, so what Liam's saying in the comments here is they might give Creed the 21. That'd be interesting. I think it'd be really cool to keep him in the 2 as long as possible, but I don't know. It's really up to them. And it's a very it's hard to tell what's going on, what's going to happen here. Like I said, I can't make a call. There's too many factors playing here that it's something is going to happen, and nobody really knows yet except for the people at RCR. Considering we got the news about the Busch Clash moving to the LA Coliseum, we did get the rest of the NASCAR schedule the next day. And some of the bigger things on that is that our old friend Pocono, they're losing a date this year. They're known for their doubleheader weekend, usually in May or no, June, usually in June. And they're losing a date this year. A little surprised, actually, because they've had a contract with NASCAR to go through next few years here, and it looks like that's been terminated. But they definitely traded it for Worldwide Technology Raceway, who has raced in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series for many, many years now. Worldwide Technology is not a bad racetrack. I would definitely say it's probably a little better than Pocono, at least in my opinion. But there's a lot of excitement for the Pocono doubleheader. It's one after the other, and they had to bring multiple cars, and it's a stressful weekend for the teams, but it's so exciting for the fans. So definitely something that's going to be missed, but there'll be a lot to see with Worldwide Technology Raceway going to Cup. Big news for them. St. Louis area is going to have some exciting times, and I'll be really happy to see Worldwide Technology. Gateway is a crazy good track, one I'm excited for. But the one that's still gaining some controversy, and I don't know about this. Bristol Dirt. I was already expressing how I felt that Bristol Dirt was nothing in comparison to the pavement racing we saw this weekend. They're gaining. Well, they're returning to the schedule. We already knew that. That was news back after the original Bristol Dirt race, but their date is going to be in March this year, I believe. March, and no, I'm dumb. Not March, April. It's going to be in April, and it's going to be on Easter evening. They haven't raced on Easter in forever, man. It's been since like the 80s that they raced on Easter. Not sure what NASCAR is thinking, right? Maybe they're thinking, hey, families are going to be together. They're going to watch our NASCAR race on dirt. I don't think that's going to be the case. When I go to see my family on Easter, I don't turn on the NASCAR race. Well, not necessarily. Depends who I'm with at my family gathering, but not every family is down to watch NASCAR on Easter. That's all I gotta say. Some people, that's just not it. So, NASCAR definitely has made an interesting decision there. They're too busy trying to find the Easter Bunny. That might be it. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's going to hurt their ratings and stuff because, honestly, how many people are going to turn it on, I don't know. I'm going to try, but I can't guarantee anything at this point when I can usually guarantee most of the other races can be turned on for me. I heard from driver Jordan Anderson, who drives in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and more recently NASCAR Xfinity Series for his own team, that he's planning a wedding, I believe. And it was supposed to be on Easter. He can't go anymore. So, nobody was seeing that coming. That's for certain. Definitely an interesting move. A lot of this stuff is interesting to me. Not really quite sure how I feel about it. Something else that happened this week, and me and Liam said it last episode, that as soon as we ended the podcast, we were going to get the paint scheme for Kevin Harvick. Well, we did. Kevin Harvick's Subway number 4 paint scheme came out the night after we did the live stream, so there was definitely that was definitely a accurate call on our part. It's about as many people expected. I don't know if anybody saw any of the concepts online, but it doesn't look like the old Subway cars. It just kind of looks like they posted a picture that announced the sponsorship, and it really just looks like that on the car. Subway delivery, I believe, is what they're actually, the specific thing they're advertising with on the car. We lost some guys in the playoffs this weekend. We lost Michael McDowell, Eric Almirola, Kurt Busch. Who else did we lose? Tyler Reddick. Yes, we lost Tyler Reddick. So those guys got eliminated, and I'm actually a little surprised. Kyle Busch might get another pink car. I don't know what that was in context to. But yes, we lost those guys in the playoffs. They did not advance to the round of 12. Michael McDowell, I don't think anybody had much hope for him. He won the Daytona 500, and I can't stress enough, that is a huge feat. Many people get through their entire career and cannot win a Daytona 500. He, mostly on accident, got it, and that's great, but coming up to the playoffs and into the playoffs, he's had some miserable nights, and it did not let up here in the playoffs, so he's out. Eric Almirola was very resilient with the number 10 team this weekend. They blew some oil lines, and in the beginning of the race, and they raced back. They were one of the fastest cars on track, and they were having a really good night. Unfortunately, not good enough to hold off Bowman and Byron from entering the playoffs, getting out of the elimination. So he's out. We got Kurt Busch. He's just having a horrible night handling his car. He was very disappointed because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to change. He just knew it was bad. And so he's out with that too. And Tyler Reddick was having a wonderful night. He was probably one of the better nights of his season. And he was just not good enough. He had to pass 2 more cars, I believe. And he just didn't have enough time to pass those 2 cars and make his way into the playoffs. So unfortunately, those guys are out. And like I said, Bowman and Byron and the Hendrick Motorsports cars barely skim by the seat of their pants into the playoffs. So they're really going to have to still work hard here to get to continue. Another guy who's going to have to work hard here is Brad Keselowski. He has not had an impressive last 2 months here. Somebody almost blew up. Let's see who it might have been. I'm going to go with Eric Almirola is who almost blew up because he lost the oil lines. But Brad Keselowski is going to have to work hard here for sure in the next few races here. He might get it done. He won in Talladega this spring, but that's luck, and you can't count on luck. And the next few races are luck. The Roval, Talladega, we have Kansas coming up, I believe. Or no, Las Vegas. Man, I forgot that. I'm a little dumb. But going to be interesting for some of these guys. I can't wait to see where the Xfinity Series playoffs go. And one guy I'll mention before I wrap things up here is Eric Jones. Wonderful night. We're talking about how good Tyler Reddick's night was. Eric Jones had probably, well, I'm not going to say the best night of the season, but he had one of his best nights of the season. Bristol, great track for Richard Petty Motorsports, which is his team this year. He had to move there after JGR booted him out. And it's a wonderful track for Richard Petty Motorsports, but it's one of his better tracks too. And I don't think he hasn't finished outside the top 15 there, to my knowledge. That's just me recalling my time looking at the stats book. I could be wrong, but he usually does very, very good there. He's had I think he had a runner-up finish at one point. So going to this race, they knew it was a good one. They brought that United States Air Force paint scheme back, and I love that. And I'd love to see it finish 8th. I'm actually pretty certain they could have done a little better than that because they finished ahead of Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin cut a tire, but Denny Hamlin didn't get past him. So that's certainly impressive. So kudos to them on one of their best races of the year. But that's about. He got booted out. Yes, he did get booted out, like Daniel Suarez did. Yep. That's about all the news we got for this week. Is definitely, well, actually, I do want to add one more thing. I did say I was wrapping it up, but Michael Annett hurt himself again. Michael Annett was working out. His leg has been hurt since I believe Atlanta this summer. That's when he hurt his leg initially, and I think he stress fractured his femur. And ever since, he hasn't been good. He was out for a couple weeks. People filled in for him. Josh Berry, I believe Austin Dillon, they filled in for him. Then he was back, and then he hurt it again while driving. So then he was out again, and he came back, and he raced, I don't know, okay, but he was on the cutoff line in the Xfinity Series. And then he worked out again. Then he hurt his leg again, and Josh Berry had to fill in, and they missed the playoffs. Very unfortunate for him. To be honest with you, if this continues, I really don't see him returning to Junior Motorsports in 2022. I know there were rumors of them starting a 5th entry. So, but I don't know. I don't know if they need a 5th entry. I guess they could do part-time for him if they really felt obligated to. But sponsorship, even though he has tons, only goes so far. You can only race so far with just sponsorship. Quinn Houff showed that very well because he, like I was saying, that team's closing. He had sponsorship, no issues there, but the sponsors never got seen. Yeah, to be honest, I think he should just drink more milk. That might fix the problem there. Toyota cannot keep young drivers in their program long enough. Yes, that's going back to talking about Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. And you got Ryan Preece. You got Haley Deegan. Haley Deegan drove Toyota in ARCA. That's a little bit of a stretch, but one guy who's trying to go the Toyota path, but there's some news about him, some rumors, is Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon is rumored to be going to GMS Racing, who's supposed to be fielding a Cup car in 2022. He's been trying to race for Joe Gibbs Racing this season, and he hasn't had much success with them. He's had some more impressive rides with our Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, but there's rumors that he's going to be going to the number 20, or not the number. We don't know anything about GMS except for the fact that they're planning on coming to Cup. So we'll see what happens there. Not quite sure why Ty Dillon's being rumored, but I wouldn't be disappointed to see it. I'd be actually really excited to see him back in the Cup Series contending for stage wins again, because I'm pretty sure that's the closest thing he's come to a win, in my opinion, in my knowledge. Harrison Burton, they lost Harrison Burton too. Yeah, Toyota's not having a really nice time keeping their drivers, although they don't have anywhere to put them, so I'm not sure if they're disappointed or if they're just being negligent. That's all we have for this week's episode of Inside the Garage. Obviously, Liam's not here, but I'm Ryan, and I'm glad to have been able to sit down, talk about the news, talk on here in the comments, have a good time. And so, if you enjoyed anything, if you enjoyed listening to the news, being informed, be sure to like the video, subscribe. You've been really good with that, so that's pretty awesome. And if you want to see this news more often, you can always head over to our website, stockcarmedia.blogspot.com. We update that very frequently. If there's NASCAR news, you can guarantee it's on there. And if you want to get updates on that, if you don't want to keep on searching in our URL, which I would suggest you follow our social medias at Stock Car Media on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find us there. You'll find updates on all the news. It's been real awesome to sit down and talk about this. There's been a lot of exciting news the past week. Hopefully next week we'll have Liam back with us. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a good one. Bye now.